Hey guys, Colonel Bourne here. So I want to discuss a little bit about what happened last night during our game with TOCF and what I saw. So we, this is about what we got. We wound up with Carentan, Canal Locks, Customs, Town Center, Pumping Station, and I forget what the last one was. I can't remember if it was 502nd or Black Tot. But we come out and we made all this strategy, all this discussion for attacking, and no one made any kind of thought to defending. I feel like defense was an afterthought. So I came out of top spawn. I'm going to be the red arrow here. Came out of top spawn. We crossed that river. I went, and the first thing I did was I set up a garrison over here. Okay. I then told my boys in my squad to town center from there. So at this point in time, my squad is pushing from this garrison down to town center and attacking it. We're taking it, and it looks like we're going. There was a lot of back and forth, and we're taking it. So one of the things I think where I fucked up at, I'm going to take complete responsibility for this. I am an attacking squad, and we talked about flanking, and I should have gone to this corner, put an OP up, maybe kind of work this area, and tried to come in and help with the push at town center. But instead of doing that, what I did selfishly, thinking that town center was in the bag, I crossed the bridge here. Because if you didn't know, you cannot cross these bodies of water here. But these bodies of water you can just walk across, right? So I walk up and I go and wait in this corner here with my support guy and an OP, and I'm waiting for that cap to take place. While I'm up here, I'm 400 meters away from our blue zone Gary, and our blue zone Gary goes red and gets taken out. We start losing the battle for town center. Okay? We start losing the battle for town center. I start falling back to try to replace this blue zone Gary in the north. Meanwhile, my guys are still pushing down this way, trying to help, all but the support player. And by the time I get back down here and get this garrison placed, there's already enemies. I'm going to use this arrow. There's already enemy infantry crossing the river, getting ready to take out customs. So I've gone all this way. Sorry. I've gone all the way up here into grid square E3 to try to get ready for taking pumping station. And meanwhile, we've had enemies walk all the way over here into customs. So we lose town center, we get pushed back to customs. We already have enemies in the G3 sector. We have another blue zone Gary. We're setting up blue zone Garys here. I think it was here, and then we were setting up some Garys and canal locks. But that entire time, the TOCF guys had complete control of this area, this entire northern part and western part. So this is the capture sector here, these four squares, and they had this whole area on lock. Right, downtown center is a afterthought at that point, and we're all the way back in customs. Right, we've got enemy coming up this way, we've got enemy coming this way, and we're just trying to hold customs with a Gary in customs, and we have a Gary kind of roughly up here. But we have enemies pushing that Gary. And I was definitely not on my A game last night. I wasn't shooting good. I wasn't aiming good. My reaction time was off. I was getting just chain a chain of deaths off this garrison in H3. Spawn, death, spawn, death, spawn, death, spawn, death. Now sometimes that's effective because if an enemy's shooting at you, he's not shooting at one of your teammates. So sometimes that's effective to like draw fire, but I'm just basically giving them free kills up here in H3 while they're maintaining complete control of this area while also pushing customs. So I go around. I'm like, okay, the whole idea, the whole talk was about flanking. So I go around. I can't remember where I spawned at, but I go around and I get this garrison back up in G4. And then I go from this garrison and I go around canal crossings. This is where the video you see from Horty, where I'm like, hey, I got that red zone Gary up. Don't be a blueberry. Don't push straight into customs. Help me go up here because my intention with going up there is to clear out this nest of enemy infantry up here in G3. I'm trying to clear them out from behind and then push into customs so that we have all this area is clear and we can capture customs easily. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. Horty was doing great. He took care of a garrison. I mean, we killed a lot of guys, but by the time I'm doing this, I'm up here doing this. By the time I'm doing this, the enemy, they're already in canal locks. They're already pushing artillery. They're already coming from all over the place because they have customs. So, I mean, one of the big takeaways here is, like we all talked about in the debriefing, is you know, being able to flex, not being strictly offensive or defensive. You know, the game doesn't have offensive and defensive squads, but I would say that like these are the things that I did wrong, and I would challenge everybody else in the clan to let's not be. I'm just gonna say this: let's not be like blueberries. We've all played in those matches with blueberries, where at the end of the match, at the end of when you lose, you say, "Well, my commander sucked." Well, my squad leader was stupid. And I know that I'm one of those squad leaders. I'm not trying to get out of the blame here. I am to blame here. I made some mistakes. But let's not sit here and say, well, you did this wrong, and this guy did that wrong, and this guy did that wrong. That's not the way to win, guys. The way to win is we recognize what we did wrong, and we try to correct it, and we do better in the future. We learn from our mistakes. We don't want to sit here and say, no, I'm doing everything perfectly. It's just these other guys aren't doing anything right. That's not how we want to be. All right? And that's no way to be a team, and that's no way to be effective. Remember, there are no bad teams. There are only bad leaders.